Hi everyone, today I'm going to share with you 3 of my favorite white pens. I have a Sharpie paint pen. This is water-based. I have the Molotow All-for-One acrylic premium paint. There are different tips. This one is 2 millimeters round tip. And my last one is this new one I just tried. It's a Montana acrylic water-based paint pen. So these 2 tips, the Montana and the Sharpie paint pen, are very similar in size. The Sharpie paint pen, you might have seen the Sharpie has a white pen that comes in oil. This isn't oil, this is water-based. So here are the 2 tips of these 2 pens. Okay, and the Molotow is a little bit rounder, but it's almost the same. Let me just do a little bit of a close-up there. Okay, there we go. A little bit the same. Now the one thing about all these paint pens, I'm going to put their tops back on because that's part of what I have to tell you, is these particular paint pens, and most ones that I do know of, you do have to shake them. They have a ball inside. It won't make you dizzy, but I will have to shake them in order to use them. And you will have to shake them intermittently when you're writing with them. Let's start with the Sharpie. So I'm going to do 2 samples here. I have a black piece of paper. This is Basil licorice twist cardstock. It's thicker than usual cardstock. Another common black cardstock that a lot of hand letters use is called the Recollections brand at Michaels. And this is just a plain paper bag. So I want you to see the difference in craft and on the black paper. So let's start with the Sharpie. I'm going to shake up the Sharpie. Again, this is a hard point. It is not, this is a hard point. It is not a flex brush tip. So any lettering you do with this will be like a script lettering, and perhaps you will do some faux calligraphy. So let's just write the word. I'm going to move this down a bit, and we'll write the word hi. So let's do this with the, so one thing I wanted to tell you first. Okay, when you first get it, it will not have the paint at the tip. You will have to do something called priming it by pumping it. So read the instructions, but be patient. So pumping it means like pushing down, and I'll try to do a close-up of this. So you push down, you can see the nib retracts. Ow, that hurts actually. Never mind. The nib retracts into there, and then the paint starts flowing. You might have to hold that and do that about a few times before the paint gets to the bottom. Once again, you shake it up even while you're writing. Now I do tend to have a little scratch pad just to make sure that it's flowing nicely. I don't go right to my project. So let's do the word hi, like I said. And this point is fairly fine. There. So you can see how bright it is, and I'll just move this over and we'll do it on the craft as well. Now, if your paint pen isn't shaken up, it will start to fade a bit, and so that's when you know it will get lighter. You want to mix that paint again. So you'll get an idea of how often you have to shake it as you use it. Now, if you're going to do faux calligraphy, you'd, go like this and imitate your thick down strokes. Let's do that over here. And then you could either leave it like this or fill it in. Now, it's hard to see on camera. Let me just try to hold this up. It isn't completely opaque. It's pretty good, but it's not completely opaque. and especially on the craft, it does look pretty good on camera, but it's not completely opaque. So when I do projects with this, I actually go over it several times to get a much darker paint coverage. So like I said, if you're going to do faux calligraphy, you would then fill this in. Now, one thing I did find with this paint pen in particular, again, this is the Sharpie, and let me write that beside it, is the tip is actually very scratchy. And so I have worked on the tip a little bit, so to try to get it to be a little bit softer. However, when I was writing with it the other day, it was actually so sharp, like scratchy, that little bits of white ink were flicking off as I was writing. Now, these little bits on here actually aren't from that, but it was a bit annoying because I was having these tiny white specks all over my paper. Okay, so let's move on to the Molotow. This is another one of my favorites, similar tip to the Sharpie. With the cap on, same idea though, you have to depress the tip in order to get the flow when it's brand new. And again, don't pump it, pump it, pump it, just depress it and wait, and depress it and wait. So I will shake this off camera so you don't go nuts. So here we go with the Molotow. I'm going to write a little bit smaller. I was hoping to fit them all in the screen, but I'll have to back out. So you can see it's very similar. So if I was going to do faux calligraphy, I do this. And maybe I didn't shake it enough because it is kind of a bit lighter than the Sharpie at this point. So I'll bring that closer up. But again, it is quite a good paint pen. So let's do the comparison with on the craft. Now this craft paper, this is a paper bag. It's very porous. It's not as, I'll go over this again. It's not as dense as the cardstock. And so what's going to happen is the paint will sink in and it won't be as vibrant or opaque. So this is the Molotow. So let me just write that. This is kind of my weak attempt at cursive in a rush. So it didn't last too, it lasted quite nicely on that whole word, but let me hold it up so you can see those two words. There you go. The Sharpie looks a teeny bit brighter today, but in general, I find them very similar. Okay, the last paint pen is the Montana. This is the Montana acrylic. So let's shake it up. Now this is a brand new paint pen I picked up a while ago and haven't used it. Now, when I opened it though, after I shake it, I find that there's a blob on the end of the tip. So I do dab it off. Now, I don't know if that's an issue with this pen in particular or if they're all like that. So here we go with the Montana. Very similar size tip. Okay, I'm going to shake it some more because it is fairly new and it seems slightly lighter than the Sharpie again. Oh, see that blob? I forgot to dab it off before I used it. So I'll just write this out in a rush. Not that great. Anyway, and so I will then, like I said, in general, I go over my lines a couple of times, which can be a little bit tricky. So there you go, you can take a look at that. So here's the Sharpie, here's the Molotow, and here is the Montana. So let me just zoom out a bit and you can see them. And I'll pop the Montana onto my paper bag. I'm going to shake it again. I'll watch for that blob because it's there again. And then I'll do my high. So I find that this Montana, look how much lighter it is. It is significantly lighter than these other two on the paper bag. All right, so I do find that these pens are really handy and hold up quite well in terms of a lot of lettering on the black paper and the darker papers. Another pen you might want to take a look at, which is very common, is a Sakura Jelly Roll. This is a 0.8 size, and it is a very fine tip. Okay, so let me just write something with the Jelly Roll. But in general, I do find the Jelly Rolls perform very well on the black paper. One thing I find that is helpful for the Jelly Rolls to perform well is going slowly. So when you go slowly with the Jelly Roll, then the ink, the jelly ink, that specialty ink, flows out very, very, very smoothly, and it's thicker than if you go too fast. You are not going to get as bright of an appearance. There you go. Anyway, I hope you found this a little bit helpful and when you are looking for a white pen. And there are many more options out there. And maybe if you have other options that you did enjoy, you can leave a comment on this video and let everybody know. So have a great day and thanks for watching.